Biker buddies transforming ordinary helmets into souped-up devices.
Safety is, of course, our top priority.
A Tetris fanatic reinventing cleaning robots.
The robots that we develop transforms like Tetris game.
An aerial silk dancer
I love it. I can fly.
turning waste into magic fiber. A tech whiz with a gadget to kill noise. A plant lover turbocharging their air purifying power. And a young man with a drone that's playing the part of a bee. In this episode, tech wizardry for the human body. An all-in-one bespoke pill. Electronic skin that's like the real thing. And a secret formula to fight high GI. Anime fan.
I'm interested in generally the sports kind of anime. To see them against all odds, fighting for what they dream for is really motivational for me.
Nerdy pharmacist.
I was awarded the Best Graduate Researcher Award in Department of Pharmacy 2018.
And doting son.
有没有痛？
没有，
OK， 下午吃几粒？
下午2粒，
等晚上呢？
晚上吃5粒。
5粒啊，可以啦。比较多一点，不用紧，记得吃就可以了。I have been the main caregiver for my father for the past 4 to 5 years. My father has the 3 highs, so high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar. So in total, he takes about 9 different kinds of pills per day itself. At the start, he was the one preparing his own medications. It was quite shocking when I realized that some of the medicine was prepared wrongly. So these are actually my father's 3 months worth of medication. Typically, at the start of each week, I will actually just consolidate and pre-pack them into this kind of pill boxes. I would say that even for me, I still have to be really careful in packing his medication into the weekly boxes. So I cannot imagine that for my father himself to pack the amount of stress and the risk, the chances that he will get it wrong will be much higher. I was a practicing pharmacist in Singapore General Hospital. This is a common problem that many elderly face, where they take the medications wrongly or incorrectly. So all this situation prompted me to actually think of how we can possibly resolve this issue using technology itself to solve this problem once and for all.
The solution that Seng Han conjured up with fellow pharmacist friend Wei Jiang? An all-in-one tablet that could replace not 1, not 2, but several pills.
We thought that medicines, they were around for thousands and thousands of years. There has to be an easy solution for this. If you could actually 3D print all of these different pills into a single one, that will really help.
We try to personalize our 3D printed tablet based on the patient's requirement. Inside this 3D printed pill itself, we have different layers of materials. We combine these few layers into the tablet. I had the opportunity to pick up the technical skill set on 3D printing of pharmaceuticals in the university. And my co-founder Wei Jiang had a PhD in drug delivery, which basically studies the use of various materials to deliver the drug into the bloodstream itself. So I guess 2 brains is always better than 1.
And it would certainly take 2 brains for the precision needed for this all-in-one solution. A cocktail of meds in a single tablet means every dose must be released at just the right time.
So for example, for a patient after their heart attack itself, they will typically be put on maybe a blood thinner and also a blood pressure medication. So for example, this blood thinner is usually taken once a day right at the morning. And for blood pressure medicine, it's typically taken twice a day, one in the morning, one in the evening. The materials that we develop ourselves are able to control the rate or the timing that this particular drug is released into the body.
And this is the paste from which we make all the powders from and contains all the drugs inside,
Of course, this actually contains our secret recipe.
which we're not going to tell you.
We developed our own base formulation, which is a mixture of the supporting materials. This supporting material helps us to control the rate that this drug is being delivered into the body.
The best way to see what happens once the customized pill is swallowed is to hitch a ride into someone's tummy. But let's just opt for the next best option.
This is a machine, basically something like a stomach machine that tells us all that happens when the patient consumes our tablet and swallows it into the stomach. So this is a variant of our 3D printed pill where there are two layers, the greenish white layer on top and then the pink color layer below. What's happening right now here is that our 3D printed pill is slowly dissolving. The greenish white color layer will dissolve in about 15 minutes, leaving behind the pink color layer that will slowly dissolve over a period of 4 hours.
While cracking the formula on the pill took hard work, printing it came with no magic formula either. For one, things didn't always go according to plan.
So some of these materials, after printing, they basically don't hold the shape. So you will expect a pill to be printed out. But basically, at the end, you just get one whole block. When we were developing the material itself, due to my interest, which is to watch anime, sometimes I will actually print out anime figurines using the materials that we developed so as to push the limit of our material itself. So when my co-founder came over at the start, he was shocked.
And I was actually quite surprised, are we doing something new? Are we changing the direction of the company? But actually, it was just saying, I'm trying out new shapes, new geometries. After discussion, we realized that if you can manage these intricate designs, you can definitely print a pill.
It's taken 2 years for Seng Han and Wei Zhang to get here. They're hoping their 3D printed pills can first launch in the vitamins and supplements market with bigger plans ahead.
Our ultimate dream for the company is really to simplify the entire process of how patients, our consumers, take their tablets, localizing it at hospitals where the doctors can immediately prescribe based on what the patient requires, and maybe at about 1 or 2 hours later, they can just collect their personalized tablet and then bring it home with them.
And that hopefully means wiping out the stress for millions of people across the world, and of course for our tech whiz Seng Han and his dad as well.
方式怎么说成功？
就快了，很快你可以吃到我打的药了。
Coming up,
May the Force be with you.
a Star Wars fan turning sci-fi into real life. Head to the office of Professor Benjamin T, and there's no missing the Star Wars tribute on his front door. But that's merely a hint of what's to come.
May the Force be with you.
Inside, no escaping from this professor's love for all things Star Wars. But Ben's no ordinary fan.
When I was a child, I was fascinated by Star Wars. I still remember watching all these movies on these huge LDs, basically giant CDs of that era, and I watched them over 1 million times.
There was this scene that I always remembered where Luke Skywalker lost his hand in an epic fight. And almost magically, a robot towards the end of the movie was able to put his hand back with full sensation. And this was something that I thought, wow, if only we could do that in the real world with today's technology.
And that's what Ben's been working on for 10 long years. Turning science fiction into reality. With an electronic version of the human body's largest organ, skin.
What we are trying to do in our research is to create an artificial version of skin that behaves very much like human skin. Our electronic skins are used in prosthetic devices. Prosthetic devices with really intelligent electronic skins is a game changer and will impact lives tremendously. Because right now, if you have amputation, you have very little choice except to use a prosthetic device that have no sensation.
When you lose your sense of touch, everyday activities that you take for granted will become extremely difficult to do. If you are perfectly healthy like this man here, but just losing your sense of touch, you would be unable to get off the chair because your feet doesn't get the sensory feedback of how much pressure you're applying. And so you lose your balance and topple over. That's why a lot of us don't realize how important skin is to our daily activities. In another example, when this lady in the video was injected with a numbing agent, where it prevented signals from the skin going to the brain and the muscles, she was unable to light the matchstick easily, even though she had vision and she had other senses intact.
So a very good example of how humans use skin is when we perform a handshake. And robots with electronic skins are able to do a handshake without actually crushing my hand, for example.
Without the sense of touch, prosthetic users are essentially numb to the world, and that makes it extremely emotionally draining. For example, if you're a dad that is unable to hold your child's hand without hurting them, that becomes a tremendously dejecting experience.
Other times humans use skin is when we need to pass objects to other people. For example, passing this plastic bottle. With electronic skins, the hand can hold onto the bottle without crushing it.
And that's not all. Ben's e-skin can tell hard from soft, smooth from coarse, or cold from hot.
Electronic skins can enable this kind of intuitive handling of things you use every day when you eat. If the coffee is warm enough, or is it too hot, or is it cold? When you play games, for example, a lot of times what we don't realize, every second of the day you're alive, your skin is giving you all the environmental information needed.
Think of these dominoes as nerves on our skin. Nerves transmit signals. With the slightest touch, our skin sends sensory messages to the brain, and the brain in turn responds.
So as humans, when we touch any object, our skin is able to distinguish between objects almost 10 times faster than the blink of a human eye. So for prosthetic devices, it's the same process. They need to have that feedback loop. And in order to allow the sense of touch to be so fast, we have to come up with new ways of enabling a lot of sensors to transmit the information very quickly. Having electronic skins that are very fast is a big challenge. And what our team have been doing is to create a nervous system that allows touch information to be transmitted over 1,000 times faster than humans.
We are seeing different versions of electronic skins that uses our technology to be ultra fast. So for example, here you have a sensor of 100 sensors over 1 centimeter square, which is about the size of your fingertip.
Speed aside, Ben's pushing his tech wizardry even further. He wants his e-skin to mimic nature in more ways than one.
So what you're seeing here is a piece of self-healing electronic skin that we made. They can sense touch, but also self-repair and self-heal just like human skins. So when you cut the material, it heals within minutes, and over time, the scar can completely disappear.
So how we created self-healing capabilities in electronic materials is by engineering chemical bonds that behave like nano zippers. So when there's a scratch or a tear, These bonds behave like zippers that automatically zip up the tear.
Slated for human trials this year, COVID-19 put a stop to those plans. But for a Jedi in training, Ben won't let it get under his skin. Still to come, a foodie helping diabetics.
I'm actually a foodie that thinks about food in a different way.
A taekwondo black belt. An obsessive kickboxer.
I care a lot about fitness. I exercise about 3 times a week, so don't cross me.
And then there's Verlin, the foodie.
Now we're in my kitchen. It's also our office and it's also our lab. A lot of people think that I'm a chef, but actually I'm not. I'm actually a foodie that thinks about food in a different way.
Verlin's mind is wired differently. When it comes to food, this is what she sees. Molecular structures upon molecular structures that make sugar sugar or rice rice.
We look into like the structure of the starches, for example, like amylose and amylopectin, how they affect digestion, and also the composition of...
Okay, we get the idea. Verlin's a geek, a food geek to be precise.
I graduated with a degree in food science and technology from the National University of Singapore, NUS. I started baking when I was in secondary school. I don't know whether my sister would kill me, but yeah. So my sister, yeah, she was more chubby when she was younger. So I think I saw it like, firsthand in the sense that how she kind of struggled with her weight. And I think that's where I got more interested in how I can make my baking products like healthier. Yogurt banana bread, healthy food can be tasty too.
Over the past 4 years, Verlin's been concentrating on making one of Asia's favorite staple food, white rice, healthier for diabetics.
60% all diabetic patients are in Asia. So Asians, we eat about 1.5 bowls of rice daily. And the rice that we eat are mostly refined white rice. They get digested in the body into glucose very, very quickly, and that causes your blood sugar levels to spike after a meal. With the prolonged high levels of blood glucose levels, it really stresses your pancreas to produce insulin. And when your pancreas may not be able to produce enough insulin in the long run, it can cause diabetes. 3, 2, 1, here I go! So think of the digestion of white rice like a sprint. White rice digests very fast in the body, and the glucose is released very quickly into the bloodstream. On the other hand, whole grain brown rice digests slower and releases glucose gradually into the bloodstream. So our blood glucose levels is more in control.
Verlin's found a way to turn the fast digestion of white rice into something slower, just like that of brown rice. It's in the form of an all-natural fiber developed by her startup.
Our research is surrounding plant ingredients, such as like tapioca, pea, corn. And what we are interested in is how these plant ingredients actually help to slow down the glucose release from these refined carbohydrates. So alchemy fiber is added to the rice grains after it has been washed, but before it's cooked. You can't really see that there is a difference in the white rice, and you also can't taste the difference. So we have conducted 3 rounds of human clinical studies for rice with alchemy fiber. So 2 was with University of Sydney and 1 with National University Hospital, together with National University of Singapore. And from that test, about majority of the healthy subjects actually saw a significant reduction in their blood glucose levels.
And this is how it works.
So this is really simple. I represent brown rice. Ta-da! And that's Alan, the CEO of our company, and so happened to be my husband. He's wearing white to represent white rice. Alan, show the sign.
Always listen to your wife. Ta-da! Yes, I'm white rice and most people prefer me.
But he's not very healthy. Brown rice is the healthier rice because of its protective cover or the brand. I'm wearing a brown jacket to represent that protective cover. And this protective cover can actually help brown rice digest slower. Unfortunately, white rice, as you can see, doesn't have that cover and it digests very quickly and it causes a sugar spike. So alchemy fiber solves this problem. We give white rice a protective cover. There you go. And we make white rice as healthy as brown rice. Great job, Alan.
There is no taste difference in white rice with alchemy fiber added. Many people have tried the product, but the real litmus test is my aunt, who's diabetic, and her blood sugar levels has come down ever since she started eating the product. She loves it.
Besides being sold online, alchemy fiber is already being used in some Singapore restaurants and bakeries in products ranging from cakes to local delights. But that's not all.
We're talking to Raffles Medical Group, which is one of the largest healthcare providers in Asia. We're looking to develop a dietary supplement that can also help to slow down the glucose release of carbohydrate foods. And this supplement could possibly be taken, with a meal. So Raffles is also interested to serve alchemy fiber in their ward. In a way, it's an affirmation of our science and research.
Alchemy fiber is easily adaptable to all kinds of carbs. Verlin's latest product, bubble tea pearls.
Singaporeans are really big lovers of bubble tea. The pearls are made of tapioca starch, which is digested very quickly in the body. So alchemy, one of the ingredients that we use is also from tapioca as a source. We have treated regular tapioca starch to alter its molecular structure, making it more resistant to digestion. And we were actually able to slow down the digestion rate of the bubble tea pearl, and yet it still tastes and chews like a bubble tea pearl.
Again, we send the bubble tea pearls to Ellen's aunt for her to have a taste.
Oh, that's a relief.
That's great. She likes it.
Rice or pearls or cake, something that not many people want to give up. The immediate satisfaction is like knowing that the food's healthier, so you feel less guilty.
Cheers, guys!
Yay!
It's good. It's not too sweet, actually.
I cannot get anything at all.
In the next episode of Wizards of Tech, tech wizardry for homes, a noise blocker for windows, super-powered plants for purer air, and a shape-changing cleaning robot.